It addresses two key priorities for the Carney government. One, trade diversification, which is the new mantra in response to Trump's tariffs. And that hampers us in two ways. First of all, our oil and gas trades at a significant discount in the U.S. market. 97% of Canada's gas and oil exports, and that is the country's leading export, go to the United States because we have nowhere else to sell it.
Trump calls tariffs a gift to Americans. But guess who's not buying that bedtime story?
Canada.
They've axed imports of U.S. goods, and tourism from their side has plunged by over 60%. And Mark Carney? He's packing a few quiet gut punches for Donald. Stick around to see how Canada's silent uppercut is flipping the whole game. Before we go further, smash that subscribe button and drop a like. While Trump's busy bragging about winning, Canada's playing a whole other sport. Not chess, not checkers, but economic dodgeball. Every time he throws a trade tantrum, they duck, fire back, and keep locked on the knockout.
Our trading relationship with the United States is still profoundly and adversely threatened and affected by similarly unjustified 232 tariffs against steel, aluminum, and the auto sector. The government welcomes yesterday's decision by the U.S. Court of International Trade, which is consistent with Canada's long-standing position that the U.S. IEEPA tariffs were unlawful as well as unjustified. It therefore remains the top priority of Canada's new government to establish a new economic and security relationship with the United States, continuing threats of tariffs against other strategic sectors, including lumber, semiconductors, and
Cutting their ties with the U.S. bit by bit, Canada decided early they wouldn't let Trump stack the deck, especially when his is full of wild cards. Instead, they've quietly slashed dependence on American imports, making sure tariffs sting more in the U.S. than across their border. Tourism? Down by over half. Steel imports? In free fall. They're not just ditching U.S. goods, they're doing it surgically, hitting right where it hurts. Ontario even paused electricity exports to the U.S. as part of the bigger plan. Not impressed? Look at Canada's $29.8 billion in retaliatory tariffs. Steel, aluminum, even household basics. Oh, and maple syrup made the list, maybe just to remind the U.S. who owns the recipe. These aren't tantrums. They're precision strikes on industries Trump swore to shield, like manufacturing, and it's landing. Michigan, for example, is reeling. Automakers already crushed by steel costs from Trump's tariff binge are now squeezed harder. That's a lot of grumpy voters in must-win states. And while Trump tweets about his great deals.
Of course, we take good note of the comments made by the president. And of course, we'll let the Prime Minister continue his negotiations and will not negotiate in public. It's been only 15 days that the Prime Minister signed an agreement with the EU to make sure that not only, of course, that we have free trade agreement, but that we are very closely aligned on defense. And we want to make sure that while we are putting pressure on the American administration, that at the same time, we're creating, well, first we're protecting jobs while creating.
The industries Trump claims he's saving are now wondering who's going to save them from him. And here's the kicker. None of this was spur of the moment. Every move Canada's made has been deliberate, turning Trump's tariffs into a boomerang aimed straight back at him. While he's scrambling to sweep up the mess, Canada's thriving by rewriting the entire playbook. This isn't luck, and it's not guesswork. There's a certain someone guiding parts of the strategy, and it's not your average politician. Enter Mark Carney. Trump loves the big reveal. All hype, no follow-through. His so-called EU-style deals are pure theater. Flashy headlines, fuzzy promises, and just enough fine print to let him jump on Twitter and declare victory.
States and Donald Trump has announced he is going to double the tariffs imposed on Canadian steel and aluminium.
Governor of Ontario on the weekend saying that he would impose tariffs on electricity coming into the United States. And so Donald Trump, in response, has issued this extremely lengthy tweet, or 50% on steel and aluminium. He seems to be taking no notice of the turmoil in the markets, which have lost all.
It's the kind of move that leaves U.S. industries spinning, scrambling to figure out what just blindsided them. Meanwhile, Mark Carney, the quiet architect behind Canada's trade strategy, isn't chasing applause. He's rewriting the entire trade war script, with Trump playing the accidental villain in his own show. Take Trump's much-hyped Japan deal, marketed as one of his crowning trade achievements. But here's the real twist. It's a dud for Americans. Japanese automakers kept a 15% tariff, which sounds harmless until you compare it to the 25% still crushing Canadian or Mexican cars. The result? Japan looks like a winner, American automakers look like amateurs, and Trump looks, well, unmistakably orange. This giveaway diplomacy? Carney's having none of it. His blueprint is built on enforceable terms. No wide-open deals Trump can flip on a whim. No hazy timelines. No empty rhetoric. The opposite of Trump's approach, which is all fireworks first, details never. Canada's instead targeting strategic tariffs on steel, aluminum, and lumber, exactly where Trump's tantrums have already hurt both sides of the border. If Japan couldn't crush their steel tariff issue under Trump's so-called best deal ever, Canada's seizing control. That flips the balance, forcing the US into a weaker position and making Trump face what he hates most. Canada doesn't need to play by his rules. By focusing on smaller, enforceable wins, Carney is shifting the rules entirely. For Canada, this isn't about Trump's spotlight. It's about keeping the upper hand quietly and securing long-term gains. As for Trump, sure, the stage is still his, but it's starting to feel like Canada is directing the whole production. Trump loves to puff his chest, tossing tariffs like reality TV plot twists. But Canada's approach? Way less drama, way more black belt. Instead of reacting like a tariff punching bag, they've been rewriting the rules entirely, making themselves less dependent on US tantrums and more on lasting leverage. Mark Carney's playbook is the exact opposite of Trump's. No wild promises, no headline stunts, just careful, stacked victories that stick. So here's the big question. What happens when a country refuses to play by chaotic rules and starts building its own game? Canada's answer is simple.